On July 10th, 2025, African-American academic John McWhorter wrote a very interesting article for the New York Times. And it says this: "It's time to let go of African-American." Now, John McWhorter is originally from Philadelphia. He teaches at Columbia University and has done so for years. But he was concerned about this term African-American. Now, it's not that he's joining into the hashtag FBA movement or Yvette Carnell's rendition of hashtag ADOS. He wrote this article about this guy, Zohran Mamdani. Now, who is Zohran Mamdani?
One thing I've learned is that when you're the first Muslim elected official to ever run for mayor, people say some pretty wild things. For example, some folks on Twitter have convinced themselves that I'm hiding 2 secret children. I do not have any kids, much to my parents' disappointment.
Zohran Mamdani is a New York City mayoral candidate. He seems like a great guy. He's young, he's vibrant, and hey, New York City is a place where a lot of people are accepting of different ways of doing things. If he's Muslim, if he's not, it doesn't matter. New York City doesn't discriminate. But he got himself into a big issue. What issue was that? Now, first of all, Zohran Mamdani was born in Kampala, Uganda. And as you can see, he's not African, he's Indian. So that's one issue. He was in Kampala, Uganda, and a lot of people in Africa feel some way about that. But instead, he was born and spent his time in Kampala. From there, he went all the way to the United States, where he got into politics. And when he tried to get into Columbia University, which is the same university that John McWhorter tried to get into, he had a situation. And basically, he could check 2 boxes: Asian or African American. Now, if you think about him, he's Indian, so he's Asian. But he was born in Uganda, so you could then say he's African. So can he say that he's African American? Well, guess what he did? He checked off the box Black or African American, and many people are concerned.
Peace to the tribe. So Zohran Mamdani, a Democrat running for the mayor of New York City, recently came out and said back in 2009, when he applied to Columbia University, he marked as a Black/African American. Columbia, like many elite universities, used a race-conscious affirmative action admissions program at the time, reporting that his race was Black or African American, in addition to Asian, could have given an advantage to Mr. Mamdani, who was born in Uganda. And this is why the OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, the organization that's over the racial and ethnic identifiers in America, needs to get it right. Black/Black Americans are a specific ethnicity found in America. We were reclassified to Black on the very first United States Census record in 1790 up until 1860, prior to the Civil War. Prior to the end of the Civil War, we was Black on paper. If you can't find that in your family tree, if none of your ancestors was reclassified on Black with the U.S. Census from 1790 through 1865, you are not a Black American.
I want to give a shout out to the brother Secure the Tribe on TikTok, because he's absolutely right. This man had a double opportunity to qualify because, as you know, there was affirmative action. So if you were an African-American student or an Asian student, you could qualify and get greater opportunities to get into Columbia University, which would then take away that opportunity from somebody who would be classically known as African American in 2009. Somebody such as myself, who comes from the lineage of African American slaves. My family is from Louisiana on my mother's side and father's side. And so for people like myself and maybe you, that is who it's reserved for. Not somebody who is basically from Uganda as an Indian who is then claiming to be African American. But this is happening in other parts of the country. Fast forward! Introducing to you State Senator Omar Fateh. Omar Fateh is a state senator from Minneapolis, but he's deciding that he's running for mayor.
Everyone keeps asking me, Omar, why aren't you doing more videos? As a state senator with a second full-time job and a kid on the way, I just haven't been able to find the time. I've also been fighting for you.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the You think you is?
And he's running for mayor in Minneapolis, which is a great city. Give him a round of applause. If you guys don't know, Minneapolis is home to many people in the African world. Liberians are many there, but also Somalians are very many in Minnesota, especially around Minneapolis. And so Omar Fateh, he's saying in that he's fighting for you. Now, this is interesting because he was born in the Washington, D.C. area. He schooled in the States, but something came out that was concerning.
We should make dua for him and pray for him. I understand that our Somali communities are all connected to each other here in Minnesota and back home, and I ask for your support. There's always been a link between our community here as well as back home, and I'm running to bridge that gap and unite all of us and represent all of us, because when we succeed here, we succeed everywhere. And I'm hoping to do that just like Abdul.
Now, it seems like he's in some level of a Somalian assembly, and he's telling these people that, you know, hey, we in the Somalian community are very connected to the people back home. And so that's interesting because he's supposed to be fighting for Minneapolis residents, but it seems he also has some level of loyalty to Somalia, which is a country that he's probably never been to. If he has been to, he doesn't live there, but he has some level of dedication that he wants to help where he's originally from. And there's a crowd of people that will be depending on him to bridge the community from Minneapolis back to Somalia. And people find this to be very suspicious. Look at this comment here of the video that I just said. Breaking video shows Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fateh calling Somalia our home despite being born and raised in the United States. Rewind! The year is 1995, and a very vibrant Dr. Claude Anderson is on a Detroit cable access show. And at the time, I believe he's on this show, he's promoting his hit book, Powernomics, which was written to the African-American community. Now, if you guys don't know Dr. Claude Anderson, he's one of the great African-American or hashtag Black American academics of his time. And he was trying to get Black people to understand something that his research was showing at this issue, right? But basically, the person that is interviewing Dr. Claude Anderson is asking him about why did he write the book Powernomics?
Daryl, there are probably a number of things. First of all, I could say there was a dissatisfaction with what was happening politically in this country as it was affecting Black folk. I could say there was a response to the book The Bell Curve, which proclaimed that Black folk were genetically inferior. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is tell Black Americans that you're not genetically inferior, that you've been socially engineered into your present predicament.
He says, hey, he wrote this book because he wanted to respond to some of the racist books written about Black Americans. And some of these books, especially when it came to the bell curve and intelligence, was saying that Black Americans or hashtag FBAs were not intelligent at this particular time. But he said, no, you're just as intelligent in Black America. You're not stupid. You're not inferior, but you were socially engineered to be who you are. And I thought about this, and maybe Dr. Claude Anderson didn't understand a lot of what he was predicting was be happening today, but maybe he did. I'm pretty sure he did. But what happens is that a lot of Black Americans, we have been socially engineered to believe that everyone else's fight is ours. And we can say that because the Black and Brown Coalition was that example, or some would argue what has happened with the LGBTQ community. And now what you see is with Black Americans getting involved in the fight against some of them, against ICE, right? We see that in certain pockets of Detroit and certain parts of California, where you have Black Americans fighting for the rights of people who would not fight for you. And this is what the Democrats have trained Blacks. You need to support immigrants. Look at the Black cities. Look at the mayors. Look at Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. His loyalty is not to the African Americans on the west or south side of Chicago. His loyalty is to migrants. The same thing we can say with Karen Bass, who's also African American. Where is her loyalty lying? With immigrants. What about Eric Adams? Before all of that happened with him in New York City, where was his loyalty to? It's to immigrants. Okay? The Democrats are putting black faces up there that you can identify with. This is the same thing with Barack Obama, and then with Kamala Harris also, but you're being engineered to vote against your own best interests. That's what he's saying. And I'm pretty sure he already understood that at that particular time. But he also said this.
And I also could say that it was a response to the contract with white America. And to tell black folk that that contract is not new, that it was first issued in 1638 by the Maryland colony, and nothing has changed. And that black folk are still fighting for self-sufficiency and competitiveness in this country, and that we must come together quickly or what risk being a permanent underclass in the society.
One of the alarming predictions you make in the book is along those lines. You mentioned that blacks will be pretty much a permanent underclass in America by the year 2015. Why the year 2015?
2015 because what I've concluded from analysis is that there are going to be a converging of social factors nationally and internationally that's going to place blacks in a permanent status of underclassship. And we anticipate by that point in time, based on all the research that's coming to us, that the next generation of whites is going to be more anti-black than they've been since the civil rights movement. 2, we anticipate by the same token about 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and about 41 million Asians by that point in time, which is going to kick black folk out of being the minority in the society down to a minority. We've been number 2 in the society for 400 years as a group. We're going to become number 4. And if we have not gotten anything after being number 2 for 400 years, you guess what's going to happen when we become number 4. Because at that point in time, all the new groups coming into America, they're coming in higher than we are because this country operates off of a preferential acceptance program, which means that groups are coming in based on skin color, going from the lightest down to the darkest, light, yellow, brown, black. And that's what our immigration laws are based on. And black folk would not be able to penetrate through those groups to get to the white society when that happens, because those groups owe us nothing. They don't understand our problems, and they are competitive with us, and we don't begin to be a little more aggressive about being in a competitive posture. They're going to eat our lunches.
They talked about the social factors that will be happening around the country and around the world. And this is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing this with both of these men who don't understand the problems of Black America, especially with Zohran Mamdani. You see, when he's clicking Black or African American on his Columbia University application, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your problems. He cares about what's in it for him. And he doesn't care that he came to the United States from Uganda. It's because of Black Americans that have fought for civil rights that he can do that. He feels like he owes you nothing. He doesn't understand your problems. Yet you have blacks who are fighting against ICE to protect the same people who will replace you. Their kids will go and get the things that you're supposed to get. And then at the end of the day, they will tell you that, some of them, you're lazy, or you're silly, or you're dumb, or why didn't you try hard? I mean, I've been an immigrant myself for 10 years living outside of the country, so I understand what the mentality is like. When you live in somebody else's country, you don't necessarily care about their best interests. It's only that because I've been living and I'm also a Black person and I happen to be in Africa, I've thought about it and forced myself to think about it. But it's times where I'm just thinking about surviving or thinking about myself or what can I get out of it? It's just natural. So you can't expect somebody else to do that. And I'm also an American. I was doing pretty good when I came to this country. Or even to Poland, I started doing very well. But people who don't have anything when they're coming over, they're not going to think about you. They're thinking about themselves. And at the same time, when you're being socially engineered to replace yourself, you're being lumped into, let's say, let's hate the Republicans, let's hate Trump. And I mean, I don't have a problem with whoever you want to hate. If that means at the same time you have to vote against your own interests, then that doesn't make very much sense. And John McWhorter doesn't usually get into beefs like this. He's an academic. I've been following him for quite some time, even when he divorced or separated from his white wife, right? But if he has to come out and make a claim about this, it must be concerning. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with an episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.